And then there's a human sidekick that started this whole mess, Edgar. Yeah, he accidentally caused a blackout which somehow thawed all the dinosaurs, including the villains, from a glacier. Not the lynx though, I have no idea where they came from. So yeah, this show is his fault. Edgar works as the museum's inventor because apparently museums need inventors in their staff. The show makes itself even more of a TMNT ripoff by making Edgar just a ripoff of the 1987 version of April O'Neil, a damsel in distress in almost every episode. Hell, he even met the dinosaurs in a really similar way, chased by the villain's minions into a sewer/alleyway before being saved by the heroes in the nick of time. Though April is much braver than him. He's just a whiny scaredy cat who keeps getting himself into danger just by hanging around the dinosaurs for no real reason.
I would be somewhat okay with that if his opera singer screams didn't make my ears bang themselves against a wall.
I'm hit! I'm blind! Delicious, but blind! You're not security guards at all!
Though instead of the dinosaurs bringing Edgar to their headquarters like the turtles, he finds it himself, the museum's basement. It's a pretty big damn miracle no one has come across it before since they're living in a public place. See, you dinosaurs are morons, deciding to stay hidden in a place where a significant number of people could stumble upon your HQ. That's how your sidekick found you. In fact, from what I've seen, anyone can and has entered the headquarters at any time. The Ninja Turtles you've been trying to rip off have a much better hideout because it actually works as a hideout. No one wants to go wandering around through the sewers. For crying out loud, your nemesis knows where it is and has tried to destroy you and the HQ more than once. He has a bomb launching thing in his car. If he suddenly becomes competent, he could easily use it to blow up your hideout. Move already! Oh, what am I saying? School's no better. He lives in a mountainside with a big-ass metal door that no one in Blue Dildo City has noticed. Edgar's definitely more of a tag-along than April, as the dinosaurs are still reluctant to have him with them. Not exactly supportive, they treat him as a joke and make a lot of asshole remarks. Then again, these are the same assholes that sent their leader off to another country against his will. He's just there to be comedy relief, the damsel in distress, and their gadget maker. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even appear in some episodes. He's that useless. Well, maybe not completely useless, since he gave them sci-fi guns and their own expensive-looking themed vehicles that no unemployed dinosaur or young museum staff member could afford, including a helicopter. They don't even have enough money to pay the museum bills, so how the hell did they get all that technology and parts for those vehicles? I assumed the villains sold their own stuff, but these guys wouldn't have done that. It's like that whole high school teacher being able to afford her own advanced technology and themed vehicles thing all over again. Also, Edgar has a crush on purple-haired co-worker/granddaughter of the museum's curator, Polly. And that's it. She's the crush. Well, okay, she knows a lot about history and patronology, but for some reason that's not considered useful enough to the writers to make her be part of the team more often. Nope, she's the love interest, meaning she's on the sidelines looking pretty and acting overly emotional in an instant. Basically, she's her.
I am hurt beyond all recognition. I never want to speak to you.
The writers avoid her potential character development all the time. For instance, Polly apparently knows about the dinosaurs in the second episode, but only spots them near the end of the pilot and was going to dedicate her life to finding them. Yep, just when they were going to give a bland character motivation to develop her personality, The writers decided that that was too hard to write and simply skipped to her already knowing in the second episode. However, this might just have something to do with the show's dodgy continuity.
If you actually want to suffer through all 40 episodes like I have, turns out it's okay to watch it out of order, since the show does that too.
I'm not kidding. In the first few episodes after the pilot, they already have the vehicles. Then they show the episode in which they first got the vehicles after those episodes instead of before. Makes me wonder if the writers intentionally wanted to confuse their audience to make it even smaller than it already is. And that's it for the main characters. Any other human characters that pop up here and there are just bratty assholes who want attention. Even Pacifica Northwest was fleshed out and given a tragic backstory that causes her motivations, making her more tolerable and relatable and more than a stereotype. These guys are just stereotypes through and through. And idiots, because somehow the civilians of this show aren't at all scared shitless by the living dinosaurs walking around, even though the dinosaurs are not generally accepted or Fantastic Four famous. In fact, everyone's goddamn oblivious.
Stretcher? Or how about, solar-powered nose hair clippers?
You do realize the mall is being attacked by unstoppable laser-firing robot dinos, don't you?
You techie boys are all the same. Hey, buddy, if you don't want the nose hair clippers, you can just be honest.
Edgar even once introduced them as though they're normal friends directly to people only by name, and those people aren't freaked out the slightest by the fact that they're talking to dinosaurs. Even a queen doesn't bat an eye. Maybe the humans are moronic enough to fall for their disguises. At least a turtle in a trench coat and fedora makes some sense, depends on the lighting. Well, okay, people have noticed the dinosaurs, but only a few times. Like, so few I can only count them on one hand, and they all happened for a joke. Yes, this is only brought up for jokes, because freaking dinosaurs walking around is not worthy to talk about. The fact that dinosaurs are living amongst humans could have had an impact on the story and setting. It could have made the show more mature by tackling more mature subjects, like how living proof of dinosaurs affects some particular Christians who pretty much believe that fossils were just planted by God or Satan. I know, it's a kids' show. They probably wouldn't have done that since religion apparently doesn't exist in those shows. But they should have done something similar to that, or include a whole new dinosaur prejudice into the show. Instead, the writers find it easier to have humans suddenly realize dinosaurs are passing by when they can't think of any good jokes. You know what? I've gone on about the characters and other stuff for quite a while now. Seriously, that's how bad Kung Fu Dino Posse is. Let's talk about how the show looks.
Animation. Well, it can be summed up with a clip from a much better show.
They just didn't care.
I get why the mouth movements would be out of sync. That's expected from an English dub. At least I think it is. Because if this is the original, wow, lip syncing so bad the characters' mouths would move for a long time and then the shortest sentence would come out. The lip syncing worsens what we already have here. Cheap stills of the dinosaurs beating up their opponents, stock animation of dialogue exchanges and action scenes, sometimes repeated backwards instead of using original and less obvious animation, the frequent slapstick and generic fighting / wrestling moves that don't work at all with this animation, the animation that doesn't allow exaggerated expressions needed for comedic moments, the whooshing backgrounds to use the same fighting shots as many times as they want to, and of course the obvious frame skipping animation you would expect from the dark age of animation. Not the year 2009.
God, just put it out of its misery.
Maddie? Why are you here?
To be part of the 1-year anniversary special? Why else? I mean, I did contribute to your videos as well.
Yeah, you do make my videos look a lot more professional with your tarot cards. I mean, if it weren't for you, the tarot cards would just be these. But do you really want to be here stuck watching this mess?
Good point. See ya.
Oh crap, what have I done? No, don't leave me here with that!
To be a touch fair, the art style's fine, similar to Teen Titans. The animation just makes it seem crap. But let's face it, with the low quality of everything else, it could have been a lot worse. Since the show looks bad, the humor must have made up for it, right?
What humor?
I guess it's true what they say. The camera really does add 10 pounds of ugly.
Congratulations, Before Dishonor. You are now Shakespeare.
It gets worse, people. As well as this sort of humor, they also hit rock bottom with toilet humor multiple times. From a machine that makes fart noises, to a whole episode about BO, to a raisins looking like crap joke, to collars that produce the worst smell possible, to an episode that was just fart jokes and nose-picking jokes to make their grossest episode, and of course, this scene.
Off the road, you nincompoop! Welcome to Child's Fertilizer Store. No, literally. Now who's the nincompoop? Anyone have any toilet paper? 1 or 2 ply? No!
And it's not just these sort of jokes they're bad at. If they come up with a joke that they think is funny, they repeat it over and over and over again, beating it to the ground even though it's already dead. Makes sense that they would. This is a show that uses want noises.
Things are finally going my way. I guess it doesn't work so well with beds.
And of course, there's one thing that this kind of show does often. It makes no goddamn sense.
Certain things about the show aren't explained at all, like how the dinosaurs can somehow make their kung fu uniforms or whatever appear on their bodies in a flash of light, even though those costumes were just clothes they found in a museum. They never explain how a bunch of dinosaurs can do that.
It's magic. They don't have to explain it.
No, it's not magic. They haven't once mentioned magic, and they've been using scientific explanations for things that they bothered to explain. Like how combo sizing works. Yes, combo sizing. That's a thing.
Combo sizing is when the dinosaurs run into each other and fuse into a ginormous dinosaur dragon thing. Yep, they also ripped off Power Rangers. I know this is more of a Steven Universe concept, but that came after Kung Fu Dino Posse without any awareness of this show, and of course Steven Universe does it better. Combo sizing is the easy way out, disregarding the few skills they have. Oh, maybe it's not really the easy way out. It should be the first thing they do, since all they do is fight giant monsters. I mean, if you could become a giant monster or drive a giant robot to stop an opponent, why not do that first?
Well, because back during Mighty Morphin, they couldn't just escalate a fight. They could only respond in kind if the enemy did. So they couldn't just create the giant robot as a first move. They had to wait for the enemy to escalate it to that point. It's kind of stupid, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah, that's true. But the dinosaurs don't have an explanation whatsoever. Go, Yori had a cameo.
Ha! For a law book that includes clauses concerning alien invasions, mad scientists, and oddly enough, nose rings, there's nothing in here about the limited number of cameos per reviewer.
You had 3. Leave.
As I was saying, there is an explanation for the combo sizing. But it's... well, just listen.
It's possible that we could create a massive subatomic energy surge by colliding the four of you at a speed of 88 miles per hour.
Science? And of course, we have the magnum opus of not making sense. Something that you may have noticed that I was too polite to not bring up until now. What the hell are the dinosaurs?
Why are they humanoid, ladies and gentlemen? Never explained. That's right, the first thing you notice on the show has no explanation. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had an explanation for why they're humanoid. All the other Ninja Turtle ripoffs got explanations. But an apparently humanoid 65 million year old dinosaur race that invented a whole bunch of stuff before us got what?
Zero, zip, zilch, nada.
Nothing! Absolutely nothing!
The writers just expected us to assume that these are just ordinary dinosaurs, even though there's heaps of contradictory evidence throughout the museum. Even Edgar rightfully freaked out over how they were humanoid. That definitely shows humanoid dinosaurs were not just dinosaurs in his universe. Even Dino Squad had an explanation for the humans who shapeshift into dinosaurs and the dinosaurs that shapeshift into humans on their show. It was one of the most infuriatingly half-baked and contrived explanations I ever heard in my life, but at least they provided one. Kids wouldn't believe these are just dinosaurs. So what the smacking hell are they?
Pardon the interruption. Hello, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and I wanted to offer some help for your query regarding these strange reptilians. Have you considered that perhaps they might be the remnant of the race of that great Ophinian entity, Yig? Think of it, their cold blood, their lifeless eyes and sinister hearts. Although, come to think of it, that also describes the perfidious Dutch. Either way. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Thank you.
You know what? I could believe that. Doesn't matter anyway. The writers think they can get away with everything unexplained and badly done, like the dinosaur species, as long as they do two things often. Self-awareness and fourth wall breaking.
We now return to pre-team genetically altered spy chickens.
Just because you mention a TMNT ripoff name as a self-awareness joke doesn't mean you can get away with yours so damn late. Besides, that show sounds a whole lot better. See what I mean? The writers think they could get away with every nonsensical thing that needs explanation, every bad cliche writing choice, every ripoff, everything, by having the characters point it out to themselves or to the audience. Now don't get the wrong idea. I like self-aware humor and fourth wall breaking. But these guys do it so badly by doing it in such an overt manner. And not funny overt like Gravity Falls. I mean, they just ask the most obvious questions or say the most overused fourth wall jokes regarding things they're doing that they're confused about doing but still doing. If the writers are that aware they're using the worst of Saturday morning cartoons for their writing, then why are they using them in the first place? Oh, I know. They're bad writers. They're too lazy to fix the problems they're aware of and would just point them out and move on to get away with it.
I mean, a parrot could tell a joke about himself eating shit while he's eating shit, but he's still the one eating shit. No one's really getting the last laugh in that scenario. And the show does such simplistic self-awareness jokes, just one person pointing out something and then moving on. You gotta keep it rolling, get creative, make it an actual good joke rather than an excuse. That's how I've kept commenters and the cyberspace trinity off my back. Come to think of it, it's been ages since I've heard from them. Where the hell have they been?
We have gathered here today to say farewell to the lead DiCaprio never-winning Oscar lead. It's okay, Pygmalion. I'm sure your child has gone to a better place. See you now.
Also, it seems like the show is trying to be a parody to get away with their bad decisions, but they fail at that since the only jokes addressing the show's own poor quality and the worst part of Saturday morning cartoons are the bad self-awareness jokes and fourth wall jokes. Just having those does not make your show a parody.
Horror will always be my favorite genre because it's the loudest and most creative. But I do have the utmost respect for comedy. Well, good comedy. Why? You know the phrase, dying is easy, comedy is hard? I honestly believe that. The name of the game when it comes to filmmaking, and basically any other kind of storytelling, is provoking an emotional response. Intentional emotional response, I mean. So laughing at something that's meant to be scary or dramatic, or getting angry at something that's supposed to be fun doesn't count. It just means the creative types haven't done the job right. Some genres have a goal of provoking one vital emotion amongst a lot of people, like horror or tragedy. The most common actions of each genre are guaranteed to provoke the target emotion out of as many people as possible, like torture to provoke fear, or the death of a beloved character to provoke sadness. With comedy, it's a little trickier. Same goal, provoke happiness/laughter out of lots of people. But here's the problem. The most common things to make a lot of people laugh are now also the dumbest and should be avoided at all costs. Things that only make us laugh due to our own immaturity, like dick jokes, or sometimes blatant self-awareness, since you laughing at something that makes fun of itself makes you feel better for enjoying a badly written comedy. For a few seconds, and eventually the laughs will become cringes and groans. Making people laugh because of good humor is the alternative, and it's pretty damn difficult. You have to come up with something original and clever. If you do, then there's a chance it will only make some people laugh, because humor is completely subjective. Everyone's sense of humor is different, as everyone has different personalities. Our personalities fuel our sense of humor, and vice versa. Point is, you're not completing your goal. Comedy is a balancing act. You have to figure out a joke that will make the most amount of people laugh while still making sure it's original and clever. Trust me, it's a difficult balancing act. This show doesn't have the audacity to even try the balancing act. It chooses the easiest route. Bad common humor justified with bad self-awareness and fourth wall jokes. To the writers, comedy isn't something to respect. It's an excuse, which caused them to miss the mark when it comes to parodies. Avoiding the balancing act didn't allow parody to be a form of storytelling or a form of communication regarding something you want to speak about and change. It was just used as an excuse. A very poor one, since the writers didn't try to follow a particular form of parody that requires that balancing act. They thought weak fourth wall and self-awareness jokes were enough to justify the show as a parody. You need hard work to do a good parody. You've got to choose your weapon. Satirize in a Horatian or Juvenalian manner. Spoof, pastiche, subvert, fast, be affectionate, be stealthy, invoke, deconstruct, reconstruct, do both. Take self-awareness to the extreme. Anything except being Captain Obvious on your own bloody show. Whew. So, final thoughts?
Dino Squad is better than Kung Fu Dino Posse.
What? I know. After all the crap I've given Dino Squad for downright offending me with their condescending approach, why have I changed my mind now? Well, Dino Squad does see its audience as idiots, but the people behind the show have hope that the audience could learn from the teachings of the show. The execution was a patronizing mess, but they had good intentions. The people behind Kung Fu Dino Posse saw its audience as idiots through and through. They didn't even try to show them how to be good people. They thought they could get away with not putting any effort into anything on the show by not only using the art of parody as an excuse, but by merely thinking kids are too dumb to notice. Yes, we all know from experience that some things kids see on cartoons go over their heads. That's how nostalgia starts to form. But not every single thing gets unnoticed. Some kids will notice the awful lip syncing. Some kids will notice the frame skipping animation. And some kids will notice how the characters don't sound natural when they talk. Kids aren't stupid, so don't let your show rely on the notion that they are. I believe the worst thing a show can do is put no effort into itself. Thousands of creative people could only dream to have their show ideas on TV. But no, Kung Fu Dino Posse had that time slot for 40 episodes, and we never got to see any of the good new shows that should have been in its place. If you're not going to put any effort or passion into your project, why did you even start in the first place? This show can't even make a cyborg alligator with a jetpack awesome. If you fail at that, you fail at life.
So yeah, this show is definitely getting an F-. It is now officially the worst show I ever reviewed on mine. I'm so glad I do things differently from that piece of crap. I do see you as intelligent viewers. I don't just acknowledge my mistakes that I've noticed and that you helped me notice. I try to fix them. I fix to improve something I feel very passionate about. It's what got me onto some pretty major websites after all. And if I hadn't done anything and just followed Kung Fu Dino Posse's example, well, my show would have stayed looking like that. Thanks for following the show for a year, and here's to another. Now for year 2, I'm going to go back to reviewing your movie suggestions. It's about time too. It's been, 8 months since I last reviewed a suggestion. I was going to review Ice Age after this, but with the release of Batman vs. Superman, I think I should review the film that got their relationship right. And after 2 more TV reviews, I'm going to review the movie that got The Man Without Fear wrong because of the completion of Daredevil Season 2. Hey, they are movie suggestions. They're just being done at an appropriate time.